I wanted to get on here real quick to make a video talking about the licensure process, dual licensure, and the counseling compact. And the reason I wanted to do this video is because I was thinking about, where I'm at in my independent licensure kind of journey, and it made me look up where everything was at with the counseling compact. And it's been making progress since the last time that I looked into it. And I want to make sure that I get the information right. And I also put the link to the website somewhere in here because there's a lot of really good information on here. So I'm going to start by kind of explaining what the counseling compact is and why it's kind of so important. So, right now, in order to practice in different states or be dually licensed, you have to go through each state's counseling board or whatever kind of board or organization is over the counselors. You have to go through, you have to apply. If there are additional courses, take those courses, do all the CEUs for that specific state. It's a whole process. And it's kind of a lengthy one. And I think that's a disservice to a lot of people who are seeking clients because some people live in really rural areas or areas where there's not a lot of diversity in the types of counselors available. Some people want to see someone who has a really specific specialty, and there isn't a counselor in their area who does that, but there's one maybe out of state or, in the next state over, right across state lines, who might be able to do that. And this counseling compact really opens the doors for clients to have more access to counselors and to mental health services. So, in looking at the counseling compact, it can potentially apply to every state in the country. But right now, I think there's a total of 33 states who have this compact enacted. And I'll name the ones that don't have it because that list is a lot shorter. So there's states that have it enacted, states that have started the legislation process, and states that have no active legislation. So the ones that don't have anything active are Alaska, Nevada, Texas, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, and Puerto Rico is also included because it's a US territory. So those states and territories haven't done anything to get this process started. But states that have legislation filed and still in progress are New Mexico, California, Oregon, Idaho, Minnesota, Illinois, and New York and Rhode Island. So, and Hawaii. So those states are in the process of getting this whole compact put in place. Any other state that I did not name has this legislation passed, the compact's been enacted in those states. So what does that mean? And what does that mean for you as a counselor, for me as a counselor, for all of us? Like, what does that mean? What does it look like? Um, for me, it doesn't mean a whole lot just yet because the counseling compact only applies to counselors who are independently licensed. So since I'm still working towards my independent licensure, even if this was up and running, I wouldn't be able to apply. And with that said, the applications for this aren't open yet. So if you go on their website, they say their goal is to open the application process by like later this year, so late 2024, but it hasn't been opened yet. So this is all still a work in progress. So, like I said, what does this kind of mean for counselors? If you're working towards independent licensure, you can't apply for this yet once it's put in place. But if you are independently licensed, then all you would really have to do, in theory, is apply for privileges to practice in other states that have the compact privilege. And that simplifies the process a lot because you're not having to go through each individual state board. You're just going through this compact, and that cuts out a lot of work. It saves a lot of time, and it just makes things so much simpler. Um, so basically, there are kind of stipulations, I guess you could say. So, like I said, the applications, they're expecting it to open later this year. And so after you apply and make sure that you're in good standing in your home state, so the state that you're already independently licensed in, then there is a possibility that you would still have to, meet the licensing requirements of the state that you're applying for, or the state that you want to be able to practice in. So some states have specific exams, like for California, there's a California Law and Ethics exam that you have to take to be independently licensed. So that is something that you would still have to look into. So it doesn't get rid of all the steps and all the work, but it simplifies the process. So looking into exams, if there's additional coursework, because that's a possibility too. So for me, right now, even though I'm not independently licensed, I'm still licensed in 2 states. I'm licensed in the state of Ohio, which is where I was originally licensed as an LPC. So not independently licensed, but kind of an associate. So I'm licensed in Ohio, and I'm also licensed in California as an associate professional clinical counselor. So different states have different names for their titles and things like that. But the process for just doing that took some work. I had to take extra courses that are specific to California, like law and ethics, child abuse and reporting, elder abuse and reporting. I had to get a copy of my transcripts and things like that, and submit all of that to the Board of Behavior Sciences, which for California is the board that oversees counseling professionals. So all of those steps wouldn't have been taken away, but it would make the process easier. So, and that kind of shows that even if you're not independently licensed, you can be dually licensed in different states, but that doesn't apply to the compact. That's something that you would have to do on your own. So, this is a really big step. I think this is something that a lot of counselors have been waiting for and really pushing for. And I think it shows that when you do advocate and you push, that you can make changes in legislation, in the way things are regulated, and it shows that we do have an ability to make an impact and an ability to make changes. So that's exciting. And I really just wanted to kind of talk about that real quick. But I also want to talk about the process of getting independently licensed and kind of some of the, I guess, challenges that I've really had so far and what I've kind of learned throughout this process. So for most states, it takes about 2 years to be independently licensed. And I think how you use those 2 years is really important. I think for me, when I first looked at it, like I kind of didn't have the best perspective on it. I was like, well, why do I have to, put in all these extra hours? I did school, I did my internship, I did all this work. Why can't I just, you know, take these exams and move forward? And that's not a helpful way to look at it. Like now my perspective has kind of changed and I'm looking at this time as an opportunity for growth because I think we're always growing no matter how long we're in the field. You can have 10, 15 years of experience and take a new training or take a new course and your whole perspective on how you practice therapy can change. So how I'm looking at these 2 years now is an opportunity for me to really grow and develop into the therapist that I want to be. So last year, I took a training on trauma focused CBT. this year I want to take trainings that are more geared toward somatic approaches or body work and more bottom up approaches, because that's the direction that I want to go in with my future as a therapist and the type of therapist that I am. And I think it's stressful because whether you're independently licensed or not, there are always challenges and always things that we run into that can definitely make us question why we got into this field. But I think the most important thing is to kind of come back to what kind of therapist do I want to be. And like I said, when we're going through this process of getting independently licensed, there are a lot of hurdles and a lot of obstacles that we can encounter, whether it's not having a supportive supervisor or not working in an environment that's a great fit for us, or just having really challenging experiences with clients at times. And I think I have experienced my fair share of some of those things, but I think they're also a great area and opportunity to learn and to see where those changes can be made and where we can advocate for, the counselors that are coming in the field after us, because 2 years is a long time. It can feel like a long time. I know in grand scheme of thing it's not actually that long of a time, but when you're in it, it feels like it. So as I'm kind of moving through this process, I'm in my second year of working towards independent licensure. Like I said, my perspective has changed. What I want to get out of this process has changed. How I look at supervision has changed. And as I keep working towards these hours, that's something that I want to share with counselors that are just getting started. Like, think about those things. Think about the environment, the type of supervisor, what type of clients you want to work with, and let that kind of guide you is as you're looking for employment opportunities, as you're looking for organizations to get involved in, as you're trying to build yourself up, because that's what these 2 years should be for. They should be for growth, and they should be for, opportunities to learn and develop the skills that you've started to develop and build on the foundation that you have, because we only get so much out of grad school. We only get so much out of our internship. I think these 2 years is where we really build the strong foundation for the type of therapist that we want to be and how we want to show up going forward. And how we look at this time in these 2 years is really important. So, like I said, I really just wanted to talk about the counseling compact real quick and share that, because I was excited when I saw it, because last time I looked into it, California hadn't even started the legislation process, and now they have. So I think it's exciting to see the progress that's being made and the doors that'll open up. That's all I really wanted to talk about. So, like always, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, like it, and leave a comment on different types of videos that you want to see and types of videos that you're interested in. I think I posted like a poll a few days ago. So, look at that if you didn't see it and put your vote in. I think one of the questions that I asked was, what type of content did you see the most of on your exam if you took the NCE recently? Which domain did you see most of? What styles of therapy did you feel like the questions leaned heavily towards? Because it's been a minute since I posted my original review videos. I think it's time to update them a little bit and refresh them. So if you can let me know what areas of the exam are a little bit heavier and a little bit more difficult, that can really help me figure out what to spend more time on in my reviews. So leave that in the comments. And for now, that's all I have. So until next time, I will talk to y'all later.